This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1376, Truth About Love Blocks, by Orna and Matthew Walters of CreatingLoveOnPurpose.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ORD, the show that's all about helping you improve your relationships each and every day. I'm Greg Audino, your host and narrator. Hope your weekend's going well so far. Thank you so much for taking some time out and tuning in. Now, today I've got a post for you from Orna and Matthew Walters of Creating Love on Purpose. And just like we do on Saturdays, this is actually a Q&A from their site. So first you'll hear me read the reader's question, and then I will read Orna and Matthew's answer. So without further ado, let's jump right into this and optimize your life. Truth About Love Blocks, by Orna and Matthew Walters of CreatingLoveOnPurpose.com. This week's question comes from Rebecca. Hey, Orna and Matthew. I just love you two. You're always sharing the best of the best through your own experience and with your clients. I find it refreshing and truly awesome. I hear from all over the place about love blocks. I've heard them called roadblocks, subconscious blocks, blocks you're not aware of, blocks to love, etc. It appears there are all kinds of solutions to these blocks, from having conversations with your parents if they're alive, getting closure from speaking with an ex, to writing things down and burning them, etc. So, what's the deal with these so-called blocks? How can I get rid of something I'm not even aware of? Is there really something inside of me that keeps me from the love that I want? I really do want to share my life with someone, not just anyone. I want what you two have. Please help. Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for reaching out to us. It sounds like you've been poking around the internet reading and searching for answers. Sometimes asking Dr. Google can just make your head spin. And sometimes that's the perfect place to find answers to your question. It sounds like your current experience is the former. It's true. All the love coaches seem to discuss love blocks in one way or another. And yes, you can be blocking yourself from the love you want. We can't comment on what other coaches do, but we can share with you what we mean about the importance of identifying your patterns in relationships, as those lead you to discovering your subconscious blocks. The subconscious mind is tasked with the primary function of keeping you alive. That's it. In today's modern world, great love is not required to survive. We do understand your drive to have soul-satisfying, long-lasting love. When we're born, until about 8 or 9 years old, there is no separation between the conscious and subconscious mind. This is not a literal or anatomical thing. It's all in the way the mind functions. Our early life experiences are essentially written on the hard drive of the mind, the subconscious. After age 8 or 9, there's a change in how the mind works, and there is a filter that keeps our daily experiences up in the big prefrontal cortex, where we can analyze and dissect things. At this age, learning in schools shift from simply memorizing through repetition to higher learning skills that require analysis. If you've ever heard the saying, you can't reason with a 4-year-old, we want you to know that that is a literal truth. A 4-year-old does not have the capacity to reason. After this point in life, again, 8 or 9 years old, the only way to circumvent the filter of the analytical mind without working with a professional who knows how is through ecstatic or traumatic experiences. If you did not receive the kind of love you desire in your family of origin, then what you desire is not familiar to you or your subconscious. So the love you want is not at all familiar to the part of you that's driving your behavior and creates attraction with one person over another. We are attracted to people and situations that are familiar, whether or not we are aware of this process. You may not understand how your body regulates your blood pressure, yet it happens each day. Familiar experiences occur over and over with regularity. So the more we do something, the more we're drawn to do those things again and again. It's the rare person who is drawn toward change. Most people avoid it like the plague. When we discuss what we call subconscious blocks to love, we're referring to the limiting beliefs, the mental and emotional patterns, and behavioral strategies you learned in your family of origin around giving and receiving love. These patterns and limiting beliefs we learned at one time, but now just operate on autopilot, like driving a car or how you tie your shoelaces. If you've ever discovered that you're basically attracted to the same kind of guy, where his face is different, the details are slightly different, but the relationship is like a lather, rinse, repeat of your past relationships, This is exactly what we're talking about. The thing about the subconscious mind is that it doesn't understand English or French or Swahili. It has a language all its own, made up of symbol, image, story, and metaphor. Any person who tells you that subconscious patterns and blocks can be changed by having a conversation with another person is flat out lying. They have zero training in working with the subconscious mind and, quite frankly, are trying to get you to buy into whatever it is that they're selling. If you remember your dreams after you wake, they show how the subconscious mind works and the language it understands. The people and events of your dreams are not real. They're metaphors your subconscious is using to work things out. The subconscious drives our behavior in the same way a computer runs a particular program. X happens and you respond with Y behavior. It seems as if that behavior just magically occurred. It was the program that you have stored to respond in that particular way. Working with the subconscious mind as a tool to create transformation, we can create change for our clients quickly. Beliefs, emotional triggers, and behaviors that have been present for decades can fall away in a few short months. Ultimately, our coaching system puts our clients back in their power because they have the ability to make a new choice. They have options for their behavior, so all kinds of opportunities open up to them. To answer your question about what you can do about something that you're not even aware of, here's our suggestion. Start by writing out the history of your past relationships. Who pursued who? What did you fight about? Who ended the relationship? What's the primary negative emotion attached to the breakup? Etc. And see if you can discover your relationship patterns and your triggers. Once you discover the pattern from your past relationships, it ought to be easy to connect the dots and recognize your blocks to love. Your awareness of your subconscious blocks to love will point you in the direction of doing things differently in the future. You just listened to the post titled Truth About Love Blocks by Orna and Matthew Walters of creatingloveonpurpose.com. And thanks as always to Orna and Matthew for their words throughout this post. I appreciate the approach they took in this one, and especially the ending advice about starting to look through the relationship history for patterns and triggers I really like. A step like this can be extraordinarily helpful, not just in understanding our history, but doing so in an objective manner, or as close as you can get to an objective manner. And if I were recommending someone to do such a thing, one thing that I would encourage them to reflect on would be justifications. So when we reflect on parts of the relationships that cause disagreements, were there recurring justifications on either side? Or things that we'd made a habit of forgiving in ourselves or our ex-partners? It can be really helpful to get a sense of what type of behavior we'll overlook in others, or what types of behavior in ourselves others take exception to that we still think is acceptable. If we find something on our own side, it might provide us with a lesson of ways in which we're creating disconnection more than connection. And then if we find that we constantly allow the same thing in others, it could provide insight into something that might feel like an openness on our part, but is actually yet another form of truly blocking love. Or the ability for others to show us true love. So, things to think about. Time to end for now, though, everyone. As always, I thank you for being here and staying with me until the end. I'm hoping you took something from this post, and of course, I'm also hoping to see you again tomorrow for another one. But first, be sure to check out our weekly bonus episode, which is live now, and I'll see you over there, where your optimal life awaits.